Representative Mahoney, we thank you for joining us.
My pleasure.
Can you begin by explaining who you are, telling us a little bit about your home life and what you do outside the legislature?
I came here a good number of years ago, and when I first started out, I was a working pipe fitter. I have since retired, and a couple of years ago I retired from pipe fitting, and this is my part-time job that I work 6 or 9 months a year out at. And the other time I like to garden. I like to whittle down the list of projects that my wife and I put together every week or every month. And I do a little traveling here and there.
Can you tell us about your district and the constituents you represent?
Well, I actually represent the area that I grew up in. I live about 1.5 miles from where I grew up. I live over on the east side. I represent the east side of St. Paul, or one half of the east side of St. Paul, the northeast corner of the city, Lake Phelan, Hillcrest Shopping Center, Hazel Park Playground, and Payne Avenue. And my district has changed since I was growing up. When I was growing up, it was Whirlpool, Hams, 3M, a lot of blue-collar workers, and that whole mix of the office, white-collar office personnel there were also mixed within the neighborhood. Grew up on a street that had 160 children on it, on the 2-block street. You could have you could go from stickball game to stickball game. There's 4 of them going on almost all the time. And today, the same block that I grew up on, I door knock regularly, there's not 160 kids, but there's at least 2 soccer games going on in the street almost all summer long. And it's changed demographically. And so when I was growing up, it was 96 or 97% white and 3% people of color. And today, the district is probably 30 to 35% people of color or better. And I don't want to say the wealth has left. It's just a different kind of wealth. The wages have stagnated over the last 20 years, and that's been the problem in my district. It's still a blue-collar district, a lot of working people that live there, raise their kids there. The percentage of home ownership has dipped a bit, and it's not as dramatic as people seem to think it is. So we have a resurgence going on, though, along Payne Avenue, and we've cleaned up some of the blighted properties and blighted industrial properties back in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. Companies weren't as aware of dumping one thing out the back door as they are today. So we spent a lot of time and energy over my career here, finding ways to get that stuff cleaned up, either going back to the original company or the insurance company of that company, or in last resort, we have to go to the feds in the state to get money to clean that land up. So we've redeveloped along Phelan Boulevard. We've reclaimed several hundred acres of land that was pretty much polluted and unusable. And now we have, I think it's 2,000 jobs along that particular route. So yeah, we've been busy over there.
What areas of legislation do you feel like you are best equipped to work on with your background?
What I work on primarily is workforce development, economic development. I do some regulatory with the building codes and some of that kind of stuff. I do, and I have been deeply involved in the bonding or the state borrowing for big projects. Some of the things I don't work on any longer, but I spent a lot of time on family law over the last decade. That's a pretty tough issue, and I don't really carry any bills on that any longer. So yeah, I've spent a lot of time on workforce and economic development, trying to create jobs, trying to set the table for businesses to create jobs in the state of Minnesota. Because that's really what we do. The state doesn't create a job. It's the entrepreneur or the business that comes in and tries to figure that out. We've done a pretty good job. We're, what is it, 5th or 6th in the nation with the lowest unemployment rate. So our department, the Department of Employment and Economic Development, has done a great job. The governor's been pretty active in it. And the state legislature here has been very helpful to those particular entities, the governor's office and DEED.
What have you found to be the most rewarding aspect of being a legislator?
Actually helping the individual constituents. I tell the story of when I was first here, of the woman who had a green card, and her son, she and her son had a green card. He went on a mission trip back to their home country in Central America and was killed. And she was very fearful because of some of the regulations of getting down to Central America and getting her son buried or brought back here. And within 3 days, we had that all fixed for her, and she was able to go down and deal with her son's death down there and get back into the country. That's the rewarding part of it. A young woman just recently came to me, and I really couldn't help her, but I can help future women with this problem. We're trying to get more young people into the building trades. And there was a particular problem with childcare for this young woman through the state, because she just started out. She's not making big dollars. So the state is still helping her with a transition year. She's not eligible for that for a couple of different reasons, and we were able to fix that. Legislators understand that if one person comes and complains or has a problem, there's typically 5 or 10 other people that have it. So what was amazing was that 6 young women called me with this same particular issue with childcare in their first year of apprenticeship. So that means there's 50 or 60 other young women out there that are trying to better their lives. And we're going to fix that this year. And it's just a 2-word fix, but because it's the law, we can't do anything about it this year. And we'll fix it going forward. That's the rewarding part of this job, is when you get to actually serve the clients that send you here.
Who inspires you, and what do you find inspirational about him or her?
Floyd B. Olson. And the inspiration is that he always put the people first. Always put the people first. And was always, how do we make life better for the people that work in this state? And in his case, he was coming out of the Depression. And that's a big inspiration for me. That's what I'm here for, is just to try to figure out how to make life better for the people that live and work around where I live.
Thank you, Representative Mahoney.
Well, thank you.